By State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And speaking of being there, everybody is here at Chrysler Center for UCLA and Michigan. And let's take a look at the State Farm State of Success. Again, brought to you by State Farm.
Fantastic athletes here on your screen. We're seeing two of them in this evening's competition, Jordan Childs and Frida Esparza of UCLA. But how about Emily Erb, the junior, with a new 9.975 career high in flooring? Chloe Cho, man. It is the Chloe Cho show over in Illinois and in the Big Ten Conference.
We got a pretty good show here as well. We'll take a break and be back for rotation number 2 right here on the Big Ten Network. Wherever you're rotation 1, and we got a tight one, a season high on the vault for Michigan at 49.3, and those are some solid scores, including a career high from Jenna Mulligan.
That was the highlight. Stuck Yurchenko 1.5, and as I mentioned before, seeing her progress and be intentional about those landings, it came through in a big moment for them. So well done to her. You see that 9.675 from Paige Thaxton. It was exciting to see her add the difficulty to the vault. Just couldn't narrow in on the landing when she needed to.
Coach McDonald scores on the bars. A rare slip up from the Olympian, but they're in at 49.325.
Incredibly well done by Frida Esparza. She had that near miss on the handstand and got on her feet. Incredibly talented athlete, was able to maintain the swing and continue the routine to earn that 9.8. If you think about it, and she didn't do that, the Bruins would be counting a fall. So that is a veteran move by Frida to really be intentional about what she was doing and keep her team in this meet.
If you're wondering about the rankings, UCLA is 7th in the nation on the vault. And remember, you saw these right when we started, but just reminding you that Michigan on the bar is 15th in the nation. Emily Lee will lead off for UCLA, then Riley Jenkins, then Brooklyn Moores, who you talked about, Olivia, Nika Webster-Longen, Jordan Childs is in the 5 spot, and then Macy McGowan is the anchor, while Michigan, there are the athletes that we just talked about. The anchor is Macy in that 6th spot. Emily Lee, a senior with a career high and season high of 9.9, did not compete last week, so back in the lineup for UCLA.
Head coach Janelle McDonald told me that they're playing around with lineups. So Emily sitting out last week was nothing against her. They're just playing around with the depth they have, which is quite a great problem to have. Leading off with a Yurchenko full. Well done by Emily Lee. That was a step forward, so that is an under rotation as she's landing forward toward the table. So step toward the table would mean it was under rotated, but she's a beautiful vaulter. See that nice body position, starts to flare the arms and just movement of the left foot forward. So a 9.95 start value will likely be a deduction for that step forward, about a 10th in the under rotation.
Yeah, you talk a lot about chest forward as well, and I felt like because it wasn't, that led to that extra step.
Look at that, Gymnastics 101, Dino.
Look at this. We got 3 freshmen in the lineup for Beth Plocky on the bars. And this is a young woman from California, so probably talked to UCLA, but decided to come to Ann Arbor. Talking about Sophie Parenti with a 9.825 season and career high. Last week a 9.8.
Sophie is incredibly important for this Wolverine squad. Leading off the 3 events she competes is quite a critical position. Good Maloney to pack Salto. A little leg separation on both the Maloney backswing and the pack. Good job working through that handstand half turn. Lovely handstand on the high bar. Just the dismount here for Sophie. She stuck it last week. A double layout. And the small scooch backward, not a perfect stuck landing. So that will be about a 0.5 deduction. It's critical for this Wolverine squad starting off on uneven bars. See that nice body position and just couldn't quite hold on perfectly, and it resulted in the
big hugs from Bev at practice as we move to Riley Jenkins, the freshman with a career and season high of a 9.85 last week. She had a 9.8.
Riley competes at Yurchenko 1.5, so a 10.0 start value vault. It's been so nice to see her in this Bruin lineup. Nice job off the table and a big hop forward for Riley. You see she was a little bit diagonal to the left of the mat. Those lines there, unlike on the floor exercise when we get over to there, we'll talk more about it, it's not an automatic deduction, but you see the distance, the position on the table over to the side, which resulted in the direction. So those lines help the judges decide if the vault had directional issues, and this one did. So that will reflect in her score.
As we move back over and get ready for Ava Jordan, we can tell you Sophie Parenti tying her career and season high with a 9.825. Ava Jordan, 9.875. She's got strong ties to Michigan as her father, a former assistant basketball coach, as there he is right there. The ball and Destiny Jordan. The ball worked under John Beeline. Now he's an assistant coach for DePaul men's basketball.
Ava is a beautiful bar worker. Natural swing, excellent body position, as you see right there on the first handstand. Big release move, gorgeous straddle Jaeger. Good job maintaining composure on that second handstand with a large counter swing from the Jaeger. Nice handstand on the high bar. Let's see if she can find the landing on the double tuck. And a step forward, that's an under rotation. So the first half of that routine was pretty textbook. And the second half there, a little bit of and missing handstand position on that blind full dismount connection, as we see here. Her Jaeger, gorgeous height and position in the straddle. And just a little shift there before she releases for the double tuck. And shuffle on the landing. It looks like her feet moved a couple times, and the judges will deduct for each foot movement.
Great to see her parents there. Ava, she's got some power, but she's also very elegant.
Couldn't agree more. Speaking of elegance,
Brooklyn Moores, 9.9, career high, season high.
Brooklyn, this is our first look at a front entry vault, a front handspring, front pike half. She's really done well on drilling this lately. And a hop backward, did a good job staying tight in her core when she landed. While it wasn't a perfect stuck landing, she did keep it as tight as possible. See, she's a little forward on the table, which results in less distance off the vault table, which judges could deduct for amplitude, distance, etc. I am not a judge, so I don't know what they will do, but they could, given the placement on the table.
Sophia Diaz with a career high season high for the youngster at 9.9. Last week at 9.85. Brooklyn Moores with a 9.8. By the way, Ava Jordan, who went in front of Sophia Diaz in the 2 spot for Bev Blocky, she also had a 9.8, matching last week's score.
Great first handstand from Sophia. Nice Maloney, great job keeping her feet together. A little rushed on that bail handstand, could have shown a bit more control on the low bar, but a good handstand on the high bar. See if she can find this landing. That is a big time stuck dismount for the Wolverines after a little shuffle there from Ava Jordan and Sophie Parenti. Sophia Diaz is drinking the sticky Kool-Aid and bringing it back for the Wolverines. Gorgeous legs together on the double layout, and I love the head nod. She knew that was exactly what they needed.
I love it. My house as a kid was the Kool-Aid house. We played everything there. Let's take a look at what the judges are keeping an eye on for the vault as we get ready for Mika Webster-Longen, the freshman.
Well, we talked about amplitude in the last vault. It's all about height off the table, distance from the table. So the judges are keeping their eyes out on that execution in the vault is so critical. Are your legs together? Are your toes pointed? And then, of course, that landing. We saw a stuck landing earlier from Jenna Mulligan, and that is what everyone is chasing.
985 career season high for Mika.
Mika is small but mighty. She can really nail this. Just like that, I saw her under-rotate that vault in the touch and fall, and man, did she figure out how to drill that into the perfect position. I couldn't tell if it was perfectly stuck or not, so I'm excited to see this replay here, but well done by the fantastic, fiery freshman. Gorgeous position, and she does hop forward a little bit, so while it isn't a stuck landing, it was well done. You see the focus on her, in her eyes, beautiful pre-flight execution. We sometimes, and actually more frequently than not, see leg separation and knee bends on that pre-flight, but Mika Webster-Longen put her in the rule book as execution queen.
New career high for her, 9.925, and she knows it. Congratulations to Mika. By the way, Sophia Diaz, who went third, had a 9.9, tying her season and career high. JC Vore into the lineup of Fishers, Indiana. This was important about it. It was a matter.
JC actually had a rib that was infected, so she wasn't swinging bars as frequently, so they're really excited to have her in this lineup today. Good height on that Takacic release move. Beautiful body position on the bail handstand, being really patient here. Great work on the handstand on the high bar. A stick here would be massive for the Wolverines.
So
And
close.
a step forward, so under-rotated. So while it just looks like a step for people at home, when you step forward like that on a skill that goes backward, that is an under-rotation. So the judges are deducting for that as well as the movement of the foot. You see her shoulders were just a little too much over her knees. They weren't as on top of her body, which would have minimized that step. But great work to JC Vore, stepping up when they needed her.
So Jordan Childs had the fall on the bars. 9.975 career season high, career high 9.925 season high. Last week 9.825.
This is a different vault than we've seen in this competition so far. Jordan will compete a half-on front tuck half. So a lot of moving pieces in this vault. It would be big for her and the team if she could dial in this landing. Hot backward, great vault, excellent. More important than anything is the recovery from the miss on uneven bars. So this was an important moment for Jordan as she is in the remainder of the lineups. Early tuck on the table, so when you're doing these tucked vaults, you still need to show that clean first position, and she just tucks a little early on the table, and a bounce almost in place. Had she just absorbed the landing, she could have minimized that.
9.95 for Jordan, a new season high. As Carly Ballman, it is really hard to get better, particularly when you're going into the fifth year. Of course, COVID changed the dynamic around that fifth year as we're at the end of that. But Ballman might be doing her best gymnastics right now.
When we talked to Kaylee Boozer this week, she said, I am so impressed with Carly. She continues to improve as a super senior. Talk about talent. Massive release connection there. Straddle Jaeger directly to a shoot over. Back up to the high bar. Lovely handstand for Carly. Let's see if she can drill this dismount. Same one as Shea performed earlier. And that's a step landing. I truly believe that is one of the best uneven bar routines that Carly Bauman has done. She's earned a 9.95 7 times in her career. And this is certainly why I would not be shocked if we saw another 9.95 plus score. Beautiful handstand position there. See how tight her body is. Legs are glued, feet are glued together. And this dismount was an exclamation point. Blind landing, holds the position and clicks those heels together Dorothy style. A salute to the judges.
Wow, a beautiful handstand and then a stuck landing. The freshman Macy McGowan, see Child's in there with a 9.95. Career best for Macy is at 9.9.
Macy McGowan, in my opinion, has one of the most gorgeous and technically perfect vaults in the NCAA. Just needs to drill this landing. And a hop backward this weekend. She hopped forward a pretty sizable hop forward last week, so she was certainly trying to drill that back this week, but the execution in the air is pristine. The turn is lovely. You see her just open a little early, shoulders back, not quite over the hips, which resulted in the under rotation, but a true star in Macy McGowan.
Carly Ballman with a new career high. She actually got a 10 from one of the judges of a 9.975. Congratulations to Carly. Yeah, as we go to Audrey Sanger with a 9.825 career high, season high, and last week's score.
Audrey Sanger, just a freshman. It's one of those freshmen who is so talented but just needs competitive reps under her belt. Oh no, and just couldn't get her hands on the bar in order to catch. It looked like she was just a bit far, caught early. Let's take a look. Looks like she just let go a little early, and you see her hands touch the bar, which is incredibly important. That means that she is going to receive credit for the skill, however, will garner a fall deduction, but nice to see her get back up on the uneven bars with help from associate head coach Scott Sherman. Gorgeous hack salto, a little wobbly on that switch kip. It may seem easy, but important skill to stay tight on. Just the dismount here for Audrey, a beautiful double layout, but an out of control landing. So certainly that is the score the Wolverines will drop, but talk about that 9.975 from Carly Bauman was so important for the Wolverines right before a miss. It's actually interesting that both teams had a miss in the 6th spot.
So we will have an exhibition on the vault for UCLA as Paige Anastasi with a 9.925 career high.
Just a full twisting Yurchenko from Paige. She does do a 1.5 as well. I saw her struggle a little with the 1.5 in warm-up, so nice to see her still put a great full together and a very viable vault for the Bruins to use should they need to rest anyone. Good job on the pre-flight. Keeps her hips open, just that pike down at the end, which resulted in the step backward, but nice to see her gain that competition experience.
Exhibition for Michigan on bars will be Halen Zabrowski with a 9.825 career high, 9.75 season high. She was in the rotation last week with a 9.7. Look at the recap there for Michigan. 49.35.
There's Halen Zabrowski competing on uneven bars. Nice. Jaeger looks like she caught with her legs separated. A little natural bend in the knees there. You see her legs aren't perfectly straight, which is when we talk about a built-in deduction. That is what we're talking about. Just the dismount here. A double layout with a full out. Incredibly difficult dismount and just the smallest hop backwards. So a routine the Wolverines can use, but definitely needs to work a bit more on cleaning up the legs and the toes. So a hit routine will score higher. Way to go,
Carly Ballman with a new career high helps Michigan take a lead through 2 rotations, 98.65, 98.575. However, Miss Childs, the gold medalist, will be moving to the floor where she is magic. Michigan, though, with a lead through 2 rotations right here in Ann Arbor.